Well, good day, dear viewers and dear listeners, and welcome to the first episode of Navigating the New Normal, the International Edition. Yes, we had so much great reception from our previous show, right, Len, that we
Yes.
decided to put together the International Edition. This is so exciting. Good morning, Len.
Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, viewers, and good morning,
Good morning
Salvatore.
to everybody.
Yes. Well, our honored guest is Mr. Salvatore Corradi. How do I pronounce your last name, Salvatore?
Right, Salvatore Corradi.
Corradi. And
Yes,
he is, dear viewers and listeners, he is the chairman and founder of the Future Manager Alliance based out of Milan, Italy. Welcome, Salvatore.
thanks, Michelle. First of all, thanks for this opportunity. I hope this contribution will help you, your mission, and all the American companies that will listen this interview. I'm also happy that Len is there. As you know, Len is the founder leader of ACG Group, but he's also FMA country manager for the whole USA. Well, FMA is a born global company and not a simple network of associated members. In fact, it is not the evolution of an Italian entrepreneurial best practice. On the contrary, it was designed for a global HR market from the beginning. The progression toward achieving a global dimension has been really rapid, from a European dimension to an international one, and finally to a global one. Only 3 years have passed. Today, FMA is a real HR consultancies company which provides HR solutions worldwide. Our presence on the US market since 2017 is the clearest proof of how far our business models has reached the global dimension. Thanks to Len, in the recent years, FMA has been very active in USA, helping medium-sized companies to make the big jump toward a foreign markets and a foreign dimension. So, in very simple words, FMA is a real company, is a real global company. About that, we are very happy to stay in USA.
Thank you, Salvatore. Now, yes, your company, FMA, is a real global company. You have partners in over 35 countries, right, Salvatore?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little
yes,
bit?
yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your role and what you do as chairman?
Yes. Dimmi. Okay. The awareness of the project was born during the financial crisis between 2009 and 2012.
Okay.
We realized that there was not a HR global consulting company that had retained the entrepreneurial spirit.
Okay.
On the contrary, the presence of the multinational giant created a wall, a real wall, for our clients that for all companies and clients, medium-sized, but also big companies at the local level,
yes,
that needs to go abroad. What I mean when I say a wall, our survey said us, for example, that the most frequent question that clients received by the giant operator was, sorry, Mr. what is the volume of turnover that you intend to invest abroad? And when the client did answer, oh, I have to start only one project.
Right.
The reaction was not so encouraging for the client. Second, another factor that emerged was the customer response time. Sorry, the supplier response time was a real slow, because the approach was really bureaucratic. So on the base of these simple elements, but not only, we had the entrepreneurial intuition that there was a space to create an FMA. I mean, a real entrepreneurial company, globalized. This is the main goal of our company, and this is the main reasons of the speed of the evolution, the speed of the growing of the company around the world. So during the crisis, we analyzed the market, we analyzed the opportunities, we analyzed the surveys that we had on the table, on the desk, and we understood that nobody around the world that can offer a quality service to medium-sized company that wished to go abroad.
Got it. So this is fantastic, because this leads us into our next question. You know, FMA, Future Manager Alliance, has experience in working in crises, because that's where you started. That's where you began back in 2017. Len, what are your thoughts?
Sure. Well, in 2017, we were pleased to be approached by Salvatore, and we became partners in FMA. And I'm actually happy to count Salvatore as a friend. He's my friend in Milan, and I've created many friendships around the world thanks to Salvatore. It's been a wonderful partnership. Salvatore, why do you feel FMA's role is so important in global human resources? I know how it's helped me, but why don't you tell our listeners and viewers?
Yes, the global HR market today, and I feel tomorrow, ask for flexibility. Flexibility in terms of service range, flexibility in terms of geography. I mean that today, our role is give solution to clients everywhere, but for each HR solution of FMA. I mean, for example, many clients ask at the moment flexibility. So temporary management, for example, when they have to give a new organization in another country. For example, training to improve the performance, the sales performance in another country. For example, C-level executive search that normally guide the change step of a company. So we have a set of HR solutions that allow us to serve at global level the clients. Again, don't forget, the giants prefer serve clients already global. We help clients to become global because the giant competitors around the world prefer to have big contract, big volume, big name. So if you need help for 1 million euro of turnover, they are ready to listen to you. But if you talk with them about the simple need of a company, medium size, that wish to go ahead, they have some problem to serve them. So our first role around the world, in USA overall, but in general around the world, is to help companies to become international and global with a lot of solutions. Again, temporary management, training, cross-cultural, because clients normally in the first step send a local manager abroad. So we can help them, the manager to avoid to come back after 2 months because his wife is not so happy to stay in Ivory Coast, for example.
Right.
So we have a range of, we have a range of solutions with a good price. Don't forget, with a good price. We are not cheaper, but we are not so expensive. So our pricing around the world is absolutely online with the response of the company in terms of quality and performance. So our role in my eyes is very clear.
Right.
Helping companies to become international and after global, because this kind of enterprises need to feel our hand in their hand. We accompany this client step by step without leave the client alone. Never. This is our role from the first day. Wow.
Great.
So Len, how has being a partner affected ACG in giving the proper service delivery on the local level, meaning here in the U.S.?
Great question. Sure, great question. First of all, Salvatore said it very correct. Adaptability and flexibility that we are able to offer to clients both domestically and globally. So over the past several years, we've had cases where we've had companies from Italy, from France, from Germany that wanted to establish a presence in the US. And thanks to FMA, they brought them to us, made the introduction, and then we were able to service them as partners in FMA at the local level. So I think that's the real benefit. And Salvatore, you're 200% correct. We're servicing clients that the big firms just don't want to talk to. They're too small for them. So, we're able to be adaptable, nimble, and flexible, which brings me to another question for Salvatore. I know how we've had to adapt in the COVID world. We've had to be a little bit more aggressive in our marketing, a little bit more flexible in our payment terms, a little bit more flexible in how we work with clients. How has FMA adapted in the COVID world?
Thanks for this question. This is a very important question, Len. And it's a pleasure to answer to that. 3 months ago, we was in full lockdown in Italy. And a company from Germany asked us help to recruit a CEO during the lockdown in Italy. Don't forget, Michelle, we are an entrepreneurial global entity. So we have the way to change in a very quick time our process, our capacity to adapt the process to the external environment is very high. I mean that, can you imagine? We projected again all the process, and the client hired the CEO for Italian market without meet him in person.
Wow.
This is the proof. But I have a lot of example about that. Another example in terms of service range. In some part of the world, we have some excellent center focused and specialized in specific areas. I mean, for example, wealth, hospital, doctors, and etc., etc. So we had the opportunity to recruit doctors in Argentina for Europe.
Wow.
Or to check the way to recruit doctors in Ukraine or in Romania. So the control of the ground, the control of the camps around the world, the different job market is one of the point of force that allow us to achieve a very, very quick adaptation to the situation. So today, I have the pleasure to give you this info. There is a part of the world, I mean Far East, that Japan, China, Thailand, Vietnam, Hong Kong, Taiwan, that now is official out of the coronavirus crisis.
Okay.
Okay. So we are adapting also our approach to this country. We are flexible, dear Michel. We cannot be the same company in everywhere. We have process at the moment in the poor part of the world, for example, South America, and we have different approach in Far East. We have different approach in Central Europe or in North America. The coronavirus created this kind of approach in FMA, but our business model has been designed from the first day to be flexible. You cannot be global with the same approach around the world. You have to be flexible. So coronavirus created, of course, an external factor.
Right.
But the reaction of FMA has been really, really excellent in my eyes.
Sure.
Because I am proud. I was proud, and I am proud that during the lockdown, the company continued to acquire new clients.
Wow.
Yes, and I am very proud about that. From UK, from Germany, from companies around the world.
So Salvatore, let's talk about the adaptability and flexibility. Len gave us insight here in the United States, how ACG is playing a role in that. What other ways, you mentioned virtual hiring and proper service range, providing a proper service delivery in areas such as healthcare. What other ways do you see Italian companies being adaptable and flexible in this new normal?
Yeah. In the first phase of the coronavirus impact, the companies was really confused and astonished.
Okay.
The Italian system was under the water because Italy was the first country after China invested from this storm. And people at social level, at economic level, forgot or didn't know what mean a pandemic situation. So it was also for the industrial system. Understand what was the real priority, people or business, to be pragmatic. It was the first challenge. And also during the lockdown, we have to think that almost 50 million of residents was closed at home for 3 months, closed. It was a jail. It was not. Yes, of course. We can't go out. Can you imagine? So, but the Italian industrial system have a real and big reaction tradition. So normally we are not too much pragmatic, but fantasy and creativity is part of our value in our country.
Sure.
So when the lockdown finished, the companies immediately had a good reaction with smart working again, thinking how react to the situation.
Yes.
But the welfare system Italian has played a big role. The positive consequence is that officially at the moment, nobody lose his job in Italy. And more or less they receive a monthly quantity of money. It is not enough to have a comfortable life, but nobody has officially lost the job. Okay. But for the company, but also for the workers, this situation have a black face. I mean that it's like a drug, because nobody knows when this situation will change or will finish.
Right.
So can you imagine at the moment we have 50 million people under this welfare? What will happen when the government will announce the end of this kind of welfare? Nobody knows. So in spite of this situation, the index of production, industrial production, the index of consumer market, and the most important index are quite positive. Of course, many people in Italy has a fear that the second wave of the coronavirus will be more bad than the first one.
Really?
Yes. To use a metaphor, yes. Do you remember that the financial crisis in 2009 was a real big crisis? But the crisis in 2012 was more and more strong. And it was the second wave of the same crisis.
I see.
So people at the moment, the companies at the moment in Italy, they are keeping the position, the market position, they are working. We have no new client in Italy, so the country is not stopped, it's not diet. But I feel that this autumn will be a very, very delicate autumn for my country, for the economy, and I think also that Central Europe is in the same situation. Central and North Europe is in the same situation. So there is a new normality, yes, for people, for the companies. I talked with a lot of human resource managers in Italy, and they say to me, okay, we are learning how to manage 50% of the people out of the company. They are changing also the logistic structure of the company.
Right.
Can you imagine Microsoft in Milan in January? They just rented, I don't know how many thousand square meters for the employees in Milan.
Really?
Yes. Now they don't know what will be the use of that, of this square, because it is a square, it's not an office. And they think that they will have 75% of the people working at home.
Working at home.
So
Like the
the
US.
world is changing. The world is changing, and the square meter is not the the first point. So to show to the market that I have a lot of power in the market. I am the big one. So look, my office.
No, that doesn't.
Time is finished.
That has changed. That has changed. And so you mentioned in the U.S. How
Exactly.
how has that been reflected in the U.S. from your observation? And then we'll ask Salvatore where he sees the future.
So are you asking me, Michelle, or Salvatore?
I'm asking Len first and then Salvatore.
Okay. So yeah, definitely the new normal is work from home. I think the difference now is, rather than who has the biggest office, I think it's going to be who has the best Zoom camera, okay, and the best lighting and the best background. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing this more and more. Almost every position we're seeing now has a work from home component, and they keep extending how long it's going to be remote. We've heard some things in the past couple of days where clients have extended the potential of coming back to the office to next June. And it's not definite, it's maybe. So I think this is definitely going to be the new normal in many cases. I think we're going to see the, I call it the IBM model of hoteling, where they'll have a small amount of space and people will share when they need it. They'll come in for a day if they need it. If they don't need it, they'll stay home. So yeah, it's definitely a different situation.
Wow. Salvatore, did you want to add to that?
Without a doubt.
Yes. When I think to the future for my company, I search to define some timing, some scheduling, some generation of different dimension of our company to go quickly. If I imagine to the company in 5 years, for example, I see a company with the same business model, because we needed to give clear services and clear and constant strategy to the market, to the client. But you know that we have a shareholding program for partners and members, because FMA consider a very, very spread of the capital of the company, one of the most important elements of the business model. So I mean that in 5 years, Len will have shares, more shares. And I think that a lot of people around the world in FMA will be real shareholder of the company. Because, so I see a real entrepreneurial company with a perfect balance between the interest of the local brand, in this case of Len, and the global FMA brand, because the two missions can live with a perfect balance. So we have a program, very, 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 very positive, but it's a big, big ambition. Ambitious, sorry. Before the coronavirus, during the last international meeting, we was agreed to go to the public in a stock exchange in 10 years.
Okay.
The only difference is that now we need 11 years because we lost 1 year for the coronavirus, but the program is not changed.
See.
And when someone asks me, are you really this wish? It will be not so easy. Len know that. My answer is, in 2014, when I told, so we are founding a global company, people say to me the same, more or less, the same question.
Really?
Are you sure? Yes. Are you sure? From Italy? From Italy? Do you want to create a global brand? So I know that. But for me, it's the best gasoline.
Yes, it's the motivator.
Yes,
yes.
I love people. I love people that say to me, no, I feel that it will be impossible.
Me too.
And I think that in the next 5 years, our competitors will listen more about future manager. Yes. In Europe, I have the proofs about that. So we will be absolutely proactive on the market. We will invest every euro, every dollar that we will gain in the next year. The main point is not yearly profit. The main point is invest, invest, invest. Opening new branches. We can serve the global market today in 35 countries, but we need to be in Australia, for example.
Okay.
In Southeast, like Thailand, like Indonesia, this part of the world, we have to cover this part of the world. Because the economy between Australian continent and Far East is a very, very interesting page in our history. And we have to go on. We have to create a connection, market connection. In 5 years, we will have real business connection inside this part of the world with Japan that have business with India and vice versa, between India and Australia, between USA and Indonesia. This is global.
This is global. This is global. And
exactly.
It's fantastic to listen to the multilateral goals of FMA. And it's also going to be exciting, Salvatore, thanks to you, Len, to interview other partners of FMA on this show. We look forward to interviewing next Germany.
Yes, absolutely, yes. Marcus will be very, very happy to join with this interviews plan. And I announce in advance also that Japan will be another one, and France will follow. And we are preparing a list of countries that are preparing their interview. I hope with an English language better than mine.
Oh, Salvatore, you were absolutely
sorry, but my English improved with FMA.
No, your English was
yes.
Len,
I have any problem
Absolutely.
to say that 7 years ago my English was an English useful only to be in holidays and no more.
No, your English was perfect, Salvatore. Len,
you are very kind, Michelle.
No, really, I need to improve my Italian.
Me too.
Okay.
If I just want to add, viewers, come back next week for Germany because they're great guys. I think you're going to really enjoy them.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Salvatore, I really want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk about the Future Manager Alliance, to let the world know what your company is doing. Len, thank you for being such a gracious co-host.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
You know, it's really fascinating and insightful to hear what's going on in other parts of the world in terms of navigating how entities are navigating the new normal. And so that's what this show is all about, meeting with heads of companies, right, in other parts of the world that are going to discuss their observations and tell us more. So that's why we decided to put this together. We had to start from the top, though. We had to start with Salvatore and his team. right? I wanted to thank
right.
Federica and Michaela. You can't see them right now, dear watchers and listeners, but they're in the background, and we wouldn't have been able to do this without them. So we wanted to also thank them. You can wave, ladies, because you you can say hi, because I know you're there. Don't
Come
be
on,
shy.
Federica. Oh, there
Yes,
she is.
yes, absolutely. And where's Michaela? Thank you.
There they are.
Thank you. Mille grazie. Mille
Yeah,
grazie.
my assistant.
They're phenomenal.
So,
They're phenomenal. I want to thank them wholeheartedly. Thank you, dear listeners and
Michelle, of course, you can manipulate the recording of this interview if you need.
yes, I can edit.
You can manipulate, you can change. Voila.
I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect. I don't know about you, Len, but I think this interview
I loved
is
it.
really.
I loved it. I think the one thing
Thanks,
I'd like to
Len.
say is
Yes,
what we're
please.
going to find in this series and what we learned today is that we have more similarities than differences around the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I hope that this message can help Len to position it, FMA brand in USA with a real clear mission. Because in our experience, our idea to have this target of client is the best idea that we can have in the past. So, voila. And also, I hope that we can contribute to your success, dear Michelle.
Oh, thank you, Salvatore. You are already. You've made my day, Salvatore. I can't wait to meet you in person, and I know it's going to happen. I can't wait to meet you and your team. Len, I can't wait to meet you in person.
Yes, in November.
Yes.
In November.
In November.
Finally.
Yes, finally. So, Salvatore, any parting words before we end this episode?
L'ultima cosa.
Sì, yes.
Vuoi l'ultimo commento da te?
Sull'intervista?
Per chiudere.
Ok. Ah, stiamo registrando?
Sì.
Ah, sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry. No problem. No, my last comment is that for us, USA market is included in the list of G7 countries that we consider a priority.
Yes.
Making connection, medium-sized companies with inside this big area, G7 or sometimes G20 economies will be our camp, our field of the next years. And talking with my colleagues around the world, in Italy, also companies that ask us, dear FMA, how much has been easy arriving in the USA, for example? And I say, not so easy, my friend. You have to search, you have to try, and you have to find the right person. And I was lucky, I met Len. But before to meet Len and his boutique, his family, his value, I met minimum other 6 people.
Really?
Yeah. 4 in New York and 3 in San Francisco. But at the end, the only smart guy ready to give a chance to FMA has been Len, because he invited me for the second time in New York for a lunch in an Italian restaurant. Yes, for FMA, these are value, not details. This is my final thinking about this interview. Once again, thanks. Once again, congratulations for the format. So interesting, so rich of contents. management and entrepreneurial context. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Salvatore. Len, any parting words before we close?
No, I mean, again, not to belabor the point, I was pleased to meet Salvatore several years ago, and I value our partnership and relationship, and look forward to the future. You know, we will all get through this virus. It's going to go away at some point, and we'll get back to whatever the new normal is, or maybe back to normal at some point. But and you know, it's going to be growth going forward.
That's
Without
right.
a doubt.
Just a small another point.
Yes, please.
He's a real American guy. because he was the only one that with courage and with a clear vision of the future gives to FMA a chance.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree. I have not met Len yet in person. I agree with you, Salvatore. I have not.
Maybe
Thank you very much.
Maybe he's not anymore a teenager, but in business, he is a teenager.
That's right. Len
Just to smile, closing this interview.
Yes, I agree. Len is fresh and he's open to new possibilities, and this is one of the examples of it.
Thank you so much.
We can go on, but respectful of your time, Salvatore, and your time, Len, we'll close here. But we look forward to having everyone back for our next episode where we interview the FMA partner in Germany. Thank you so much. Thank you, Salvatore. Thank you, Federica. Thank you.
Thank you to you. You are welcome.
Thank you so much. And thank you again. Okay.
Ciao, Salvatore.
Ciao, Michelle. Ciao, Len.
Ciao.